Huh. Now it's January. Alright, so here's the deal. We're going to try to actually get something done today. It's been forever. So I think what we're going to start working on, we're going to get this cut out and painted today so that we can fit the cap on the distributor. And I'm hoping tomorrow we're going to get a radiator in here. So that'll be cool. So this looks pretty nasty. I'm gonna take this moment to remind everybody that this is like my first car project. So I cut through the firewall. So I just bonded it and I'll sand it up and paint it and clean it. And then I think after I'm done with that, I will move on to these kind of getting old engine mounts that we installed. Kind of just sand up around those and get those painted so they don't rust off and break. Alright, so it's not the best Bondo job ever, but I don't really care. I've got some primer on it now. Paint it in a minute. Alright, so it's officially tomorrow. This is all painted up now. It's ugly, but it'll work. And the mounts are painted. So that's good. Now we're going to try to stick a radiator in here. Got our hoses. Alright, so right now the plan is to go cut a piece of wood that fits as perfectly as we can in this slot. Just a little bit extra on the bottom so it sticks out like about that far. And then we'll mount that down here somewhere and clamp it all down on top of here with some metal.
Just gonna need a longer bolt.
Alright, let me show you what we did here. So, we took a piece of 3-inch wide, just plate metal, and we put it in the vise and figured out where on the radiator it needed to bend in order to connect right here. This hole is new, we drilled those. So we put it in straight against that right there, bent that, let that cool off. Then we put it in like that, bent that, and then we put it in. Actually, we didn't put it in. What we did after that, so we had this bend and this bend, we put it in a vise, or not in a vise, but on a C-clamp right here. We bent it like that. Then, once we had the shape we wanted, we knew that as long as this part was long enough, we could make them exactly the same for this side and this side. So what we did was, once we had the shape right, we just cut it down the middle. Easy peasy. And then we kind of ground them up. Nothing too fancy. Furnace. Nothing too fancy, but we ground them up and we polished them a little. And then I painted them. And I think we're ready to install them now. Over here underneath, I'm not sure how well you can see it. There is a piece of wood right there. It's not bolted down to anything, which is probably ill-advised. But once those clamps are in place, it holds it steady, and we pried on the bottom of that with our hands as much as we could when we test fitted those, and it wasn't going anywhere. So now that these are painted, I'm going to install them, and that radiator will be in place. Just to give you guys a little bit better idea what's going on underneath here, there's a piece of wood. Now if we look down here, we have this like skid plate that comes down, and then there's this piece of the subframe or whatever it is, bumper, I'm not sure what, and they kind of come down like this and like this, so they make like a V shape in there. Now this piece of wood is pointed down towards the center of that V shape, and it's wedged in there, being held in place by the center of that V shape and the pressure that these brackets are holding down on it, as well as, you can't really see it from this side, but there's a lip right there on the radiator, and on the other side there's a lip that is also keeping that wedged into place. So that is how that's going to stay in place. Now, having done this with the bolts in there now, I'm going to have to reach up through the skid plate, which I could probably take off if I was ambitious, but I'm not. And I'm going to put a washer and a nut on the bolts. Right there. Perfect. Now if you were a little more ambitious, you could do something probably a little less sketchy than that piece of wood under there, but it's not going anywhere. It's nice and solid. But more specifically speaking, we knew this was going to happen. This was part of the plan. But we are going to have to chop out a little piece of this to make room for the radiator cap, because right now this will it won't close. It's hitting that. So keep that in mind. If you do it exactly the way I do it, it's going to be a little more messy than it probably needs to be. Alright, so the radiator is in. It's all bolted down and secure. I got hoses on it, so that's great. I'm not quite ready to run transmission cooler lines yet. You can see the both of them right there with the yellow caps. So there's no coolant going in this yet, and I actually don't have a cap yet because Walmart doesn't sell them. They're the only place that's open right now, so I'll have to pick one of those up tomorrow. But for tonight, I'm going to say mission is accomplished. We got that pesky lip out of the way, so we can get a distributor in there next time, hopefully. The radiator, sorry. The radiator is all installed and bolted in, and hoses are all hooked up. So next we'll probably be working on some wiring. We have to get this fan hooked up. There's the cable for that, and I have a whole bunch of wires that go with that kit. So that'll be next, as well as the distributor. I'm trying to see if we need new cables or wires, I should say, or if these ones will work. So that's it for this one. Take care, and we'll see you hopefully not in more than a month or so, but we shall see.